G'day everyone, welcome to Roo Hammer Season 3, Episode 42. Been looking forward to this episode for a while. We're going to talk about some of the greatest players in our club's history, go through our top 17s. Thanks all you guys for joining us. Before we get started, just, as always, want to acknowledge our Patreon supporters and all you awesome people that have bought merchandise. Thank you for your support for Roo Hammer. It enables us to bring you our presentation through Restream and continue to make the connections with the guests that you guys enjoy so much. Hammer, how's your week been, mate? All good?
Yes, mate. I'm doing very well. No doubt the regulars from our Roo Hammer followers will see all the stuff that I've posted on social media in the past probably week and a half. My involvement with the New South Wales Māori Rugby League. We've got a big tournament this weekend up against Fiji. I'm involved with the under-16 girls, the Wahine Toa. So, really looking forward to it. I'm humbled to be part of something like this. It's something I spoke to Mark Horror about a year and a half ago. So to be involved now is really special, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. Before we introduce our two special guests, not really special guests, they're kind of part of the furniture around here now. School holidays at the moment, mate, for you. How's that been, especially in the working from home realm with kids running around in the background?
Yeah, mate, always a challenge. I'm sort of like holding them off when I'm doing like my Zoom meetings and everything, like keeping them nice big palm. But it was really good. It was my eldest Dominique's 7th birthday, so belated happy birthday to her. Went to the Gold Coast, went to SeaWorld and enjoyed a bit of time away. So that was really good.
Yeah, good.
Mate, like as you said, we're joined by two very special guests. Well, as you said, not really guests, more like pseudo co-hosts.
Yep.
We're pleased to be joined by our great mates, Brad and Richie, from the standoff from across the ditch. Evening, boys. How you going?
Evening, lads. Going well. Looking forward to this chat. Caused a bit of brain scratching with some of the teams, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, going well. Like I was saying to you boys before coming on, I just love making these concept teams. It just takes takes you for a trip down memory lane. It's always so cool.
It's a good way to finish the season for us too, because it's been a rough season as Warriors supporters. We haven't had a lot to be excited or be happy about, and this kind of just like as you said, Richie, takes us down memory lane. You start working through your team and you start remembering another player, and then you're trying to squeeze him in, and it's been very, very good. Just so that everyone's aware of what's going to happen, we've got a couple of team lists that we've compiled. We've got an all-time greatest Warriors 17 or 18. I think we've got an 18th man in there somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we've got a favourite Warriors 17. Now, this is basically the stipulation here is that there can't be any crossover with our all-time 17 players. So for Brad's sake, it had to be position relevant as well, or else he would have had a team full of front rowers. So that team is the guys that we love to watch play. They may not necessarily have been the greatest players that the Warriors have had in their stocks, but players that we really enjoyed personally to watch. And then we've got an All Aussie 17, which is just all Aussie-based players or Aussie-born players that have played for the Warriors. And then we've got our NRL 2022 Team of the Year that we've come up with. We've also come up with a 2022 Rookie NRL Team of the Year, and Brad and I have come up with our 2022 NRLW Team of the Year, being the big followers of the women's game. So it should be really interesting squads to put together. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. Before we get into it, though, as always, just a reminder to everyone that has tuned in tonight, the reason we do the live show, especially tonight, is to get your involvement for you guys who are watching. So please, as we move through the discussion points, join the conversation, leave your comments, leave your best 17s in the comments as well, because that'll be awesome to see what you guys have come up with. And also, please do be aware that we have current and ex-players and their families who watch this webcast. So please keep your comments respectful and refrain from making them personal.
Absolutely. Okay, just to start things off quickly, we'll touch on a bit of NRL stuff first before we get into the fun stuff. And it probably would have been after your guys' show last night that the Dally M Awards happened last night here in Sydney. So we'll have a quick recap of that. So the Dally M medalist for the men was Nico Hines, who took it out pretty convincingly. Ben Hunt was 2 points leader at the round 16 mark, and I think Hines got the most points ever in Dally M voting, which goes to show the kind of season that he had at the Sharkies. And Racine McGregor from the Roosters was the Women's Dally M Player of the Year for the 2022 season. Thoughts on that, boys? Nico Hines particularly, was that something that surprised you? I kind of picked him a week out. I didn't think Ben Hunt would get it. I thought the Dragons didn't really finish the season too well for him to poll points.
Yeah, I was surprised. I still thought Hunt may have had a shot, but I was looking at the Mitchell Moseses and all that maybe sneaking in. But yeah, Nico he did play very well this year, but it kind of felt like he went under the radar compared to others. But he was just always doing what he needed to do. And in our show, every time we talked about them, he was always in the positives column. So well done. Completely forgot about him when it came to my teams, though.
I reckon. I think it's really well deserved from him. He's the buy of the season in my books. He was absolutely outstanding for the Sharks every week, and but as you said, I hadn't really considered him to be even in the running. But there you go. So he's had a fantastic season. So well done.
I was happy for him personally, and I don't know if you guys caught his acceptance speech when he got the award, and he thanked the Sharks for giving him an opportunity to be a regular first grader. He thanked the Storm for giving him the opportunity to be a first grader, but he did a massive shout out to the Sunshine Coast Falcons, and I think it was the Cutters as well, where he played a lot of Q Cup, and then gave a bit of a shout out to players out there who are struggling in those competitions, and said to them, like, keep your head down, keep working hard, because, you could still get there. I thought it was just a lot of class about the boy. I thought he was really, really good. I'll just quickly go through the team of the year that they named. So for the men, it was Tarpanay and Haas at prop, Api Coruscant at hooker, Kikau and Nanai in the back row, Isaiah Yeo at lock, Hines at halfback, Munster at 5'8", Joseph Manu, and Valentine Holmes in the centres, Alex Johnston and Joseph Swali'i on the wings, and Tedesco at fullback. Any surprises there for you guys, Richie?
Not really, as you might find out later on when I name my NRL team in here. It's not far off that, to be fair. So, no real surprises. All players in great form, really.
Yeah. Jeremiah Nanai also got the Rookie of the Year. Isaiah Yeo, Captain of the Year, and Todd Payton got Coach of the Year, which is very well deserved. He's had a great season with the Cowboys. Yeah. And then the Women's Team of the Year. So we had Millie Boyle and Caitlin Johnston, the front rowers, both from the Knights. Keely Joseph and Olivia Kernick, back rowers. Jemima Taufa at lock. Keely Davis was the hooker. Racine McGregor at halfback, Taryn Aitken at 5'8". The centres, Kelly and Surgis, as you'd expect. Wingers, Jamie Chapman, Tegan Berry, and fullback Sam Brebner. Rookie was Jesse Southwell. The coach was John Strange, and captain Isabel Kelly. Any surprises there for you, Brad?
I'm surprised Tamika didn't make it. But
Yeah.
I'm biased. I'm a Knights fan, or a Knights woman fan. So
Yes.
I thought she was good as always at fullback. But yeah, everyone else was kind of very similar to what I'm looking at my team that I picked. It's very similar. There's just a few personal preferences that I've put in instead.
Yeah. I think I'm the same. My team's kind of similar. I would have had Ivania Polite there somewhere. I thought she was outstanding for the Titans, and really the only one that showed any real damage at the Titans this year. But interesting teams. We'll get into the footy semi-finals preliminary finals last week. Friday night we had the Eels 24 over the Cowboys 20 at CommBank Stadium. A couple of key points from that game. Cowboys with a 56% possession, and they completed at 83%. They had opportunities to score, but I felt there was some selfish plays from individuals that were trying to be the hero, resulted in the wrong decision. There was one time in the first half in particular where Jeremiah Nanai should have passed the ball to a wide open Kyle Felt and chose to go himself. Regan Campbell-Gillard with a try-double. Soft defence from the Cowboys for those. Mitch Moses, ultimate sacrifice before the game. He missed the birth of his first child to game. You can have 100 children, but you never, maybe ever going to play in one grand final, I guess. So, Para into their first grand final since 2009. How did you see this one, Richie? Anything out of this game that impressed you?
I was impressed with the grit that the Eels showed to come back. They haven't been the most consistent team this year, so at times this year we've seen if things aren't going their way, they've ended up losing games like that. So it was very tight at halftime. It was all level. Like I say, things weren't all going their way. At one point, Mitch Moses kicked a couple of bombs out on the full back to back. Now with a bit of context, the kind of week that he had, you give him a bit of leeway for that. But I thought they showed a lot of grit, and then to come back and score second half tries through RCG and Mike Acevo, and then their defence in the last few minutes to hold strong. I just thought they really, obviously at this time of year, both teams want it, but they looked like they really wanted it.
Yeah, Toddy was a little bit filthy with the way they finished off that game, but in reflection is happy with the way that they played their season. It's been the only Sydney-based guy here of the four of us on screen. It is massive here in Sydney at the moment. All Western Sydney grand final. Panthers into their third, Parramatta their first one since 2009, trying to break that 36-year hoodoo. Be good if they could, but as a Warriors supporter, we kind of don't want them to. We don't want to have that. I think Canberra has still got a bigger, longer drought than us. So
1994.
Yeah. Okay. The other game, Saturday night at Accor Stadium, the Panthers 32 over South 12. Key points from this one. South with a pretty blistering start. 2 tries. They led 12-0, and there was a couple of incidents in that first half. There was a hit from Moses Leota on Latrell Mitchell that seemed to rock him, and it kind of took him out of the game. He was absent for most of the game after that. Kick out with a shoulder charge on Graham. He was penalised. He was facing suspension, but it got downgraded for a fine. Of course it did. Penrith with some missed opportunities in that first half. Tago and Staines both with disallowed tries. Luai with interference on the first and then obstruction call on the other. The final 3 minutes of that first half was all Penrith. Coruscant with a good solo try, and then To'o with that opportunistic try from a Campbell Graham drop ball. Cody Walker with one of the worst defensive efforts I've ever seen. To'o looked like Superman bumping him off. 12 all at half time, and then the Panthers just kicked into gear in that second half. What are your thoughts on that one, Rob? What did you make of the Tane Milne send-off and the Spencer Leniu wanting to get even on the sideline?
I was keen to see that kick off. That was great. That was great. I thought it was going to be the Battle of Brookvale again. This time the Battle of Accor. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it, but yeah, pretty ordinary hit from old Tane Milne, one game warrior.
Yeah, one game warrior. Yeah.
I think it's justified send-off. It's interesting you mentioned that 3 minutes before halftime, because that's where the game was won.
Yes.
As soon as Rabbitohs got out to 12-0 lead, and thinking they really need to cash in here and go on with it a bit more, because Penrith won't go away, and you know that they're a very patient side and they wait for their opportunities. And look, they had a couple of tries disallowed, didn't drop their heads. They got those 2 tries, and sort of it felt inevitable. And then they, as we've said all year, they've just got an extra gear, and they just kicked in, and they just had too much for the Bunnies, and they powered on to a very strong win.
We had that chat group going, the 4 of us, while those games were going on, and I think it was you, Brad, that made the comment at halftime that the Panthers were just going to be too strong and go on with it now that they had a bit of a sniff. What did you make of the Tane Milne send off? Because I know you're a big advocate.
There's nothing
for,
wrong with it.
Yeah,
Honestly.
Thug life.
He gave him a haircut. That was all. You know, most people would be happy. No, it justified send off. We did talk about it last night. I said I thought 6 weeks was a bit too long for me. But you know, he did have 2 sin bins in the send off in the finals alone. So he was going to get the only way he was going to get a shorter sentence was by changing his jersey. But yeah, it's just, I don't think there was a lot of malice in it. I think there was a very big scary runner and he just tried to throw anything he could at him and he missed.
I think the worst thing,
but
I think the worst thing for him was the fact that he jumped. When he had made contact, he had both feet off the ground. It was in the air. What are your thoughts going into the grand final, boys? For me, Penrith just they really know how to win. Even when they're behind on the scoreboard, they don't seem to panic. They just play their game and trust the process. You know. The Eels have beaten the Panthers twice this season. They know they can get them, but whether they can do it in the most important game of the season is another question. And Penrith, they know how to deal with this grand final week. There's a lot of distractions with the Dally M's last night. They've got fan days and open training sessions and media commitments. And the Panthers have been through it for the last 3 years, where it's all new for Parramatta. I fear that the enormity of the occasion could get to the Eels, and I'm going to tip the Panthers, and I'm going to tip them 13 plus.
Same. Yeah, I can't go past Penrith. I think it might go very similar to the game against the Rabbitohs. I think the Eels might be in it early. They could very well get out to a fast start, but I think, the Panthers are just going to grind them down into submission, and I think it's going to actually be a very big scoreline in the end in favour of Penrith.
You boys? Rich?
I'm thinking Penrith. I was thinking 12 under though. I was thinking 12 under, but I think you're right. I think this is going to be a new feeling for a lot of these guys. Whereas people like Cleary, Luai, they've all been there and done it. Mitch Moses and guys like that. This is going to be a new experience. So it's just how they stand up under the big lights and. I almost would like to see Penrith get knocked off, but the other part of me also wants to see that that drought go another year longer.
Yeah.
And you're shaking your head there, Brad.
Yeah, you guys, I don't. Do you even watch the games? Honestly, Penrith have been Parramatta's whipping boys all year, so 13 plus to the Eels, too easy.
Yeah,
13 plus.
That's bold.
No, I think it'll be close if the Eels win, but I want to see them win because Panthers are getting very close to being my new Dragons.
Yep.
And yeah, it's one of those. It's those things. Penrith have to have an off night, and the Eels have to have the game of their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that doesn't happen, but then last time I was on the show, I said that the Rabbits would get rid of Penrith as well. So
did I. I said that too. I think it's. I'm with you, bro. If Parramatta win, it's going to be really close. It'll be 1-12. Like it'll be a field goal or a penalty goal or something in it. But I think if Penrith win, I think once they get the sniff and they get in front, I think they'll go on with it, and they've proven that they do that all year. So I've got 2 multis on. I've got a multi where I've got Penrith 13 plus, and I've got a multi where I've got Parramatta 1-12. Have you got a tip for the Clive Churchill medal, boys?
Mitchell Moses.
Yeah, Rich?
Cleary.
Yeah, I was going to say Cleary, but that would be a bit cliche, so I'll go Dylan Edwards.
I'm on Dylan Edwards. Yeah, I'm on Dylan Edwards. NRLW, they had their preliminary finals on the weekend as well. Preliminary final 1, Brad's Newcastle Knights 30 defeated his hated team, the Dragons 6. So that was a good one for him. A couple of key points out of this. All stats in this game are pretty much even with possession shared 50-50. The Dragons actually had a better completion rate than the Knights. The Knights, however, I felt had better intensity and energy in their sets. Millie Boyle with another outstanding game, 233 run meters, 28 tackles and a try. Upton with 214 run meters. Tonegado for the Dragons with 244. I thought Kira Dibb was a real influence in this one. How did you see it, Brad? Apart from Millie's performance, who else impressed you for the Knights?
That's the first thing on my notes. I'm ignoring you. I'm going with Millie first. That try was impressive.
That was
the kind of
yes.
Yeah, and it was the kind of display. That's the display the Titans thought they were going to get when they spent $1 million on David Fifita.
Yes,
but they didn't get that. But she didn't rest on that try. She was busy, as you said, high meters. She was tackling and she dominated the middle. But yeah, as you said, the stats were real even. I just think the Knights made more of their opportunities. The Dragons' only try came from that little mishap from Tamika that led to an intercept from Tegan Berry, I think it was.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought Upton made up for that error later on. I thought it was a great display from everyone there. I think Caitlin Johnston is really good. She's a good counterbalance to Millie in the middle. And yeah, Kira is, I think, been really key in helping direct the play. They've got the forwards to get them moving up the field now. And I think she's really gone in. And with Jessie Southwell still learning as a young'un, I think it's a good balance in the halves, having an experienced player like Kira there with her.
I think the key for me anyway, not that I'm a massive fan of front rowers like you are, Brad, but I think the key for the Knights is, and we've seen it with the Warriors this year, when we had Lodge and Fanua Blake go off, we lost a lot of intensity, but the Knights, when they take Millie or Caitlin Johnson off, they've got Taylor Predabon coming on the field.
Yeah.
Or Mackenzie Wheel. Those two girls have really stepped up this year and played some really good footy. So yeah, I think they've been the difference for them. The other game, we saw the Eels defeat the Premiers, the Roosters, 24-10. Upset of the season. The Eels, they struggled to get a win all season. They snuck into the semis with that one win over the Broncos, and then go and knock the undefeated Roosters out of the competition. It was an amazing game. The Eels rookie halves, Taylor Preston and Ash Quinlan, rose to the occasion, I thought. Played their more experienced Roosters counterpart in Tamara and Racine McGregor. Kennedy Charrington played her best game of the season, and she's getting better and better every week. She's coming back from a bit of an injury, but she came up with a massive 214 run meters. And Samaima Taufa, one of the best players in this women's comp, 36 tackles and 156 run meters. She was probably the Eels' best out there. Both these teams didn't make the semis in season 2021, now playing in the grand final. Last time they met, it was an 18-16 victory to the Knights after the Eels led 16-12 with only 2 minutes to go, when our good mate Liv Higgins scored from dummy half. Going to be a close game, but I think the experience of Boyle and Upton and all those girls that came across from the Roosters, particularly girls like Yasmin Clydesdale and Olivia Higgins, plus the experience of Kira Dibb, I think that will get them home. Brad, what do you think?
I think it should be a very convincing win from the Knights here, but the Eels have shown that they can surprise anyone. And the last time these guys faced, it was only a 2-point win by the Knights. So
yep.
It really depends. I didn't expect to see the Eels make it.
No, me neither. What about you, Rob and Rich? You got a tip on this one?
Knights.
Yeah.
I think the Knights obviously have the big game experience with some of the players that they recruited. But I'm just going to tip the Eels just to tick Brad off. They've got a bit of... Obviously, they crept in with only the one win, and now doing what they did to the Roosters, who were heavily fancied. They got a bit of wind behind their sails. So,
can you imagine if Parramatta become the first club to win the NRL and NRLW grand final in the...
Could happen.
Man. Yeah, wow. A couple of other domestic competition games happened over the weekend. We'll start with New South Wales. The Jersey Flag Panthers defeated the Newcastle Knights 19-18 in a Golden Point thriller. Young Isaiah Katoa kicked the field goal. He actually kicked the winning field goal in the SG Ball Grand Final back in April when the Panthers won that competition. And he has signed on with the Dolphins for next season, so he's going to be one to watch. And then in the New South Wales Cup, the Panthers defeated the Bulldogs 29-22. So we had this list of titles. The Panthers have now won the SG Ball, they won the Jersey Flag and the New South Wales Cup. It's the first time one club has won those three competitions in a single season since the Balmain Tigers way back in 1982. And if the Panthers win the NRL title on Sunday, it'll be the first time in the 113-year history of the NRL, of the game, that one club has won all four titles in a single season. So that's pretty amazing. And the question I have for you guys is, how much of this can be attributed to Phil Gould's plan, his 5-year plan that turned into a 7 or 8 year plan? And what does it say about the depth of the Panthers leading in? Like, I don't think they'll win like the next 10 grand finals, but they're going to be doubts because of the squads and the players they got coming through. How do you look at the Panthers' depth, Brad? What do you see there?
Well, it's clearly working. I think their biggest issue is you can't keep them all.
No.
Although all those kids coming through those grades, once they get to the point where they're first grade ready, you're going to see them splinter off into other clubs, which as long as some of them drip our way, it's good. But I think the Phil Gould plan all those years ago, it obviously has to have some credit, but once you get that underway, you still have to have good coaching staff and good trainers and everything to keep that everyone that's coming through that funnel that you've set up to actually be good, if you get my drift. So it's kind of a little bit of everything, but unless you've got a good pathway through, you're not going to get those young kids to be able to train up.
Correct. Mark Roberts has just mentioned Webster in the comments there, Richie. That Webster coming from that Penrith system, coming across to the Warriors, that's got to be a big plus for us in what he's seen, how the pathways and development programs work. It's got to be a big plus for us in the future.
I definitely hope so. I cautiously optimistic because I've seen people come from good setups here before.
Yes.
And not quite have the effect that we desired. Steve Kearney and the like. So, cautiously optimistic.
Oh, funny stuff. Then up your neck of the woods, Rob, we had the Queensland domestic competitions finish off over the weekend. Some of our Warriors boys playing in the grand finals up there. Redcliffe Dolphins in both the Hastings Deerings Cup competition, which I think is the under 20 or under 21 competition up there, and then also the Redcliffe Dolphins in the Host Plus Cup. The Hastings Deering Colts, the Townsville Blackhawks won that one 46-32 over the Dolphins. We had both the Kepu twins and Taniela Otakolo playing in that one. And then in the Host Plus Cup, the North Devils 16 defeated the Dolphins 10. And we had Dejan Azi, Jackson Frey, Rocco Berry, Dynamis Louis, and Pride Pedersen Rabadi all playing in that one. So good to see. We had some good representation out there as well. Josh Curran was there to watch the boys, and a couple of the other boys were up there as well. Good season for the Dolphins, but not the result they wanted at the end there, Rob.
No, it was a good game. They had a chance to snatch it right at the end, but an absolute brain explosion from Sedu too, putting in a kick for nobody. Ended up being the difference there. But good game. And sad to see some of these guys go, but
Setu too was at one point, wasn't he?
He was. He played in 2020. I think he played in some of the trials. He signed on with the Dolphins NRL side for next year. So good to see him get an opportunity. He played really strongly in the 2020 trials, as I recall.
He did. Yeah.
I've got a memory of him playing in that one reserve grade game in 2020 up at Newcastle when I was there.
I think he did,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And then the last lot of games over the weekend, the Prime Minister's 13, Australian Prime Minister's 13 versus PNG. Total mismatch in both games here. Waste of airspace, if you ask me. Australia 64 defeated Papua New Guinea 14 in the men's, and in the women's, it was a similar scoreline. Australia 64 defeated Papua New Guinea 6. I think, personally, I think it's a rubbish concept. In the women's game, you had like Gillaroos and Origin players up against like PNG A graders, and in the men's, it was really no different. I think the concept of the game is a good idea, but the way that they select their teams is probably a bit over the top. I don't think you should have guys who have represented Australia or State of Origin playing in this game. I think it'd be a better concept if it was up and comers, under 21s, or guys that haven't represented on the big stage yet. Like guys like DCE, Ben Hunt, Addo Cartwright, they're seasoned representative players, and they're playing against. There was a couple of guys that they mentioned that were playing against from that A grade competition up in Papua New Guinea. They weren't even from the Hunters in the Queensland Cup competition. So. And they talk about, it's good for the game. You know, these guys get to play against their idols and that, but I don't see how it's good. Maybe I'm the minority. I don't know. Do you guys have a thought on this at all?
It was kind of like Australia's C team, I would say, probably B/C team up against PNG's B or C team. But the problem is Australia's B or C team could probably easily account for Papua New Guinea's A team.
Yes.
So, there's absolute mismatch there. A bunch of clubbies coming up and playing against these seasoned NRL veterans. They've just been overawed. They probably look up and go, bloody hell, look who we're playing against. So, I tend to agree with you a bit, yeah.
Yeah, I was always under the assumption, because I don't really follow, the Kangaroos and Australians that much. I was always of the assumption it was players that were on the cusp of being a kangaroo that was in this. That's what I thought it was used for. But I guess because you Australians have forgotten the international game for so long, you got to try to get the Kangaroos ready for a World Cup that's happening.
Yes.
So you kind of throw in all the world. Yeah. I think that's what they did this time.
There were guys there like
in there.
There was legitimate guys there like Luke Garner and Josh Curran and there was I think it was Jock Madden, was it, from the Tigers that was there, and like Matt Burton, I guess, who hasn't played much representative footy. Like there was some guys there that were legitimate choices to play in that. But what gets me is the way the commentators are glowing of the Aussie players that are playing in that and how much of a great concept this is, and I'd love to hear what they'd think if the Kiwis picked a Prime Minister like Auntie Jacinda's 13, and it had like Joey Manu and Jerome Hughes and these guys running around, and we went and played the Fiji A grade side from Suva. Whether they'd think it was the same kind of thing, but that's effectively that's what it is. So I'm not a big fan of it, but that game's done. We look forward to the real stuff now, which is the World Cup in a couple of weeks. But that gets all that footy stuff out of the way. Now we get into the real meat and potatoes of what this show is all about. And we're going to discuss our first, our Warriors all-time 17. Now I'm going to keep all the boys accountable. I've got a list here because I've got my list, but I haven't seen their list. So as they read out their teams, I'm going to write their teams down, and we're going to post these up on social media to pull apart and have a go at and what have you in the coming weeks. I've got a funny feeling that our all-time 17s are going to be very similar. I'm going to start with you, Brad, for your all-time 17.
Did you have Steve Price at halfback as well?
Ruben Wiki.
So this is Brad's all-time 17, starting at 1 all the way through to 18. And if you have a coach, name him as well.
Oh, geez, I didn't think a coach. Coaches don't matter. We get rid of them every week. So, my one, I've got Roger.
Yep.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. I've got Francis Melly.
Yep.
Clinton Torpy.
Yep.
Brent Tate.
Yep.
Manu Vatavai.
Yeah.
James Maloney.
Yep.
Stacey Jones. Ruben Wiki. PJ Marsh. Steve Price. Ali Lautiti. Simon Mannering. And Michael Luck. And then interchange, I've got Lance O'Hara,
Yep.
Ben Madalino,
Yep.
Alan Goodenbeal, Tohu Harris, and Jerry Siu as my 18th man. Because he can play anywhere.
Yes, he can. Harris and Siu. All right.
Interesting.
That's a good. That's a good looking lineup actually, and
very, very good team. Yeah.
we can comment on these in a minute. Richie, hit me with your all-time 17.
All right. And it is a true 17. I didn't whack an 18th man in there.
Okay.
Number 1, the only warrior to win a Dally M, Roger.
Yep.
2, Melly.
Yep.
5, Vatuve. They're my 2 wings.
Yep.
Centers, Torpy, Ropati. Halves, Maloney and Jones. Front row, Price, Wiki, and PJ Marsh. Second row, Mannering, Lauatiti. Back rower, Michael Luck. Brad's been copying my forward pack. My bench, Lance O'Hire, Jerry Siusu, Richard Villasanti, and Owen Guttenbell.
Villasanti and Guttenbiel.
I needed the gorilla in there.
Yeah, nice.
Bit of
All right, Robbie.
All right,
Hit me
mate.
with it.
Okay, I've got Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Francis Melly, Clinton Torpy, Jerome Ropati, Manu Vatuve, James Maloney, Stacey Jones, Ruben Wiki, PJ Marsh, Steve Price. He was my captain as well.
Yep.
Ali Lauatiti, Simon Mannering, and Michael Luck.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same
And on
starting
the
lineup.
Yeah, and on the bench, Lance O'Hire, Kevin Campion, Sione Falmawina, Richie, and my 18th man was the Doc, Jason D.
Nice.
Wow. Nice. All right. Mine. Much like you guys, I went Roger at fullback. I had Manu and Francis Melly on the wings. Clinton Torpy, Jerome Party in the centres, James Maloney at 5'8", Stacey Jones at half, Wiki and Price as my front rowers with Pricey as captain, PJ Marsh second row, Ali Lauatiti and Stephen Kearney in the second row, Simon Mannering at lock, and then my bench was Lance O'Hire, Kevin Campion, Michael Luck, and Tohu Harris, and Wairangi Korpu was my 18th man.
Very
and
nice.
my coach was Ivan Cleary. So
Yeah, I had Ivan
very
Cleary as my coach too. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar teams there, and I kind of figured that they would be. All of us
I
having.
was the only one that liked Brent Tate. What's going on?
Yeah, you're the only one that had Tate. I had Stephen Kearney. Probably the only one that can remember him playing.
I remember.
He's
coming up for me.
He's coming up. He's coming up.
Yeah. he was. I loved watching Stephen Kearney play. You guys got an old team. Well, yeah, we do. The favourite Warriors 17. This is going to be the one that's very different for a lot of us. And just so I can quantify for the people that are watching, the favourite 17 is just guys that we loved playing, but they've got to be in the positions that they played. We stipulated that for Brad, so he didn't have 18 front rowers in a team.
That team would be good. I'm telling you.
Good go.
I'm sure it would. Yeah, I'm sure it would. All right, Richie, let's start off with you, bro. What is your all-time, your favourite Warriors 17?
All right, this should be interesting.
Yeah.
Wade McKinnon, fullback.
Yep.
The wingers, Henry Farfeli, Sean Hoppy.
Yeah.
Centers, Nigel Wagner, Conrad Hurrell. The halves, Gene Namu, Sean Johnson. Props,
Namu.
Namu.
Oh.
Yeah. Props, Joe Wagner, Ben Matalino, with the Doc at number 9.
Yep.
Second row, Sione Faumuina, Steve Kearney. There you go.
Yeah, good.
And the lock, Kevin Campion. And how's this for a bench? Brent Webb, Paliasina, Haitro Okasini, and Sammy Rapera.
Wow.
Yes.
Hitro.
He makes the team, the cult hero himself.
Yeah. Who was your last one? Okasini and Sammy Rapira. All right. Brad on his head.
Just hurts me that Paliacina wasn't starting, Richie. You know.
He's an impact, mate.
All right. Hit me with it.
Okay, so I got Brent Webb at fullback.
Yep.
Henry Farfeli and David Fusatoa on my wings. My centres are Peter Hiku and Conrad Harrell. Halves are also Gene Namu and Sean Johnson. Paliacina, Isaac Luke, and Mark Tukey is my front row.
Luke and Tukes. Yep.
And probably the only time we'll hear this guy's name tonight. In the second row, I got Akuma Tai and Stephen Kearney.
Oh, yeah.
And lock, I've got Kevin Campion.
Yep.
And then my interchange, I got Chanel Harris-Tavita, Haitre Okazini, Felipe Mateo, and Katoa. And my 18th man is Epalahami Loaki.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Luaki.
Luaki.
Who was your 17? Who was your 17? Katoa?
Katoa. And Mateo was in there as well.
Is that Ellie Katoa?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yep.
All right. Here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. Hit me with it, Rob.
Okay, I've got Ivan Cleary, Henry Farfeli, Tia Ropati, Brent Tate, Nigel Vungana on the other wing, because he did play wing for the Warriors, I'm sure of it.
Yep.
My halves are John Simon and Michael Witt.
Who are your halves again, mate?
John Simon and Michael Witt. Put the ball down, Michael. And then I've got Paliacina, Robbie Mears, and Big Tukes for my front row. And then I've got Tony Tartupu and Felipe Mateo in the second row. Monty Beetham at lock. And my bench is Grant Ravelli, Ian Henderson, Big Joe Vungana, Josh Curran, and 18th man is Sean Johnson.
Who was your lock again, mate? Sorry?
Monty Beetham.
Yep, okay. And then your bench was Ravelli, Henderson.
Joe Vungana, Josh Curran, and Sean Johnson.
Curran and Johnson. That's a skinny bench, mate.
I know.
That is a skinny bench.
I'm just done. Let's go to Stephen Kearney and just went all hookers.
Yeah.
Except for Big Joe.
All right, my team. My Warriors' favourite 17. I've got Brent Webb at fullback, Henry Farfeli on the wing with Kevin Locke on the other wing, Peter Hiku and Nigel Vungana as centres, Michael Witt at 5'8", Sean Johnson at halfback. My front row is Mark Tukey and Jerry Siusiu, Isaac Luke at hooker. I've got Josh Curran and Ben Madalino in my back row, Monty Beetham lock, and then Jazz Tavanga at Paliacina, Louis Anderson, and Sonny Fye is my 18th man.
Nice.
That was there was some name.
I know. I knew that was going
names.
to be interesting. I should quantify mine by saying a lot of the guys that I picked there are sort of guys that we've gotten to know over the years and been chatting to, and yeah, it's just good to get them into something.
I'm the same. Like the relationship that we've got with guys like Petahiku, Tukes, Curran, Jazz, particularly is reasons why they're part of my favourite. Ben Madalino was always one of my favourite. There was a player that I couldn't find a spot for him, and that was Carl Tamata. I used to like watching Carl Tamata play.
The Dreads, yeah. I was the same. Like that's why I had like guys like Michael Witt and Grant Ravelli in there. A couple of top blokes that we've gotten the pleasure of getting to know, and they've been really supportive of us. So yeah, I had to have them in my team.
This will be interesting because there's a couple of there's quite a few Aussies that have played for our club. I'm going to start with you, Robbie.
Yep. Okay.
Who's your All Aussie 17?
My All Aussie 17. I've got Brent Webb, Tony Martin, Brent Tate, Ivan Cleary, and John Carlaw.
Hang on, Martin, Webb, Martin, Tate.
Webb, Martin, Brent Tate, and
Yep.
Ivan Cleary in the centres.
Yep.
John Carlaw on the other wing.
Carlaw. Oh, yeah.
You've got to have Carlaw in there. Scored the most important try in Warriors history.
Yeah, okay.
In the halves, I have James Maloney and Greg Alexander.
Yep.
Front row, Steve Price, PJ Marsh, and Jacob Lillyman.
I forgot about the Bull.
I didn't realise he played. He played for us for 9 years. He played.
I know.
Yeah.
Close to 200 games.
Yeah. All right. Yep.
Yeah, Michael Luck, Ryan Hoffman, and Kevin Campion rounding out the pack.
Yep.
Luck, Hoffman, Campion. On the bench, I've got Josh Curran, Richard Villasanti, the Doc, Jason Deeth, and Big Tooks.
Tooks.
Yep.
All right, Brad, hit me with it.
Ivan Cleary at fullback. My wings are Lee Odenryan and Todd Byrne.
Odin Ryan and Toddy Skinny Burn.
Skinny Burn, the TV 122.
He got us some good tries in the day.
Yeah.
He did. He was good in 05, yeah.
Centres, I've got Brent Tate and John Carlaw. Halves, I've got Michael Wood and James Maloney. Front row, Steve Price, PJ Marsh, and Jacob Lillyman. Second row, Ryan Hoffman and Kevin Campion. And lock is Michael Luck. Interchange, I've got Nathan Friend, Richard Villasanti, Felitti Matteo, Josh Curran, and I have Nathan Friend as my 18th man as well. I think I was meant to put Nathan Feen.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Does he class as Aussie because he played for the Kiwis?
Oh, he's as Aussie as
We'll let you have it. He's Aussie born.
Born and raised in Mount Isa.
We got punished for him playing for the Kiwis, remember? So.
I do remember. All right. Hit me with it, Rich. Who you got?
All right. Brent Webb, fullback.
Yep.
Justin Murphy, Lee Odenryan, wingers. Brent Tate, John Carlaw, centres. James Maloney and the Kiwi Aussie, Nathan Feen.
Yep.
My halves. Price, Lillyman, props. Hooker is Mears. Back row of Luck, Hoffman, and Campion. Interchange bench, Deeth, Villasanti, Tukey, Curran.
Nice.
Campo. Deeth, Villasanti.
Tukey and Curran.
Toots and Curran.
Great to have Lee Ryan in there. Like the former fastest man in league.
Yep.
Beating Martin Offia that night at Parramatta.
Yep.
Yeah, you can score a try.
Okay. I've got my team's pretty similar to a lot of what you guys have. I've got Wade McKinnon as my fullback. I've got Justin Murphy and Brent Tate on the wings. Ivan Clear and Tony Martin in the centres. I've got Maloney at 5'8", Greg Alexander at halfback, Villasanti, Steve Price, and PJ Marsh at hooker. Ryan Hoffman, Michael Luck, Kevin Campion as my back row. And then I've got Josh Curran, Dr. Death, Mark Tukey, and Robbie Mears as my bench, with Felitti Matteo as my 18th man. I've got a pretty skinny bench in that one. I've got two hookers on the bench.
You know, the lads.
Yeah. Boys, I came up with going over researching the players, there's quite a few players that have played less than 5 games for the Warriors. So I came up with a 18 of guys that have only played less than 5 games at the Warriors. Let me know what you think of this. So at fullback, we've got Carl Doherty. On the wings, we've got Omar Slimankle and Tane Mill. Wow. In the centres, we've got Paul Fatawira, and you can't go past Mike Doreen. The great Mike Doreen. At number 6, I've got Henry Perinara, the one-armed ref. Yes. I've got Ben Lyth at halfback. Toff Sipley at front row with Siwa Taukiaho. Paul Desault at hooker. And then our back row of Sean Lane, John Pallavi, and I've got Aaron Clark at lock. And then I've got a bench of Jason Mackey, James Temu, King Vuniyayawa, and Siatonga Liki Liki.
Oh.
Some names.
Wow.
That's an interesting
names.
team. That is a
Yeah.
really interesting team. There's some really good players in there, and then there's some guys I'm like, I can't even remember them playing for the Warriors.
I was looking. There's some guys in the list. There's a lot of one-game Warriors, and I've got no idea who they are. But those guys, they've all played less than 5 games. Yeah. Interesting. All right, let's move on to our. I'm going to be posting these up later on. These teams, they're fucking awesome. I love them. Our NRL Team of the Year, which I'm led to believe Richie's team was the Dally M Team of the Year as well. So
Not quite. But
all right,
similar.
Richie, let us have it. What's your Team of the Year? Your NRL 2020 team,
Right.
2022 Team of the Year.
Tedesco, Alex Johnston, Joseph Suali'i as the wingers, Val Holmes, Joey Manu as the centres, Munster and Cleary. So, yeah, very similar.
Holmes, Manu. Yeah, it is. Munster.
Forwards, Fisher Harris, Coruscant, Tapani. Back row, Papali'i, IPAP, Nanai,
IPAP.
Nanai and Yo. Mr. Dally M on the bench, Nico Hines, Ruben Cotter, Campbell Gillard and Kickout.
RCG and Kickow. I like it. Bit disappointing there's no Warriors players in your Team of the Year, but
They made it hard.
it is what it is.
If you guys can get Warriors there, there's something wrong. Or we're just seriously biased. We've lost your sound. Adjust your volume, Hammer. No. We'll move on in the meantime. Brad, your team?
Yeah, can you hear us, Hammer, though?
Can you
not if
hear us, Hammer?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, you're back.
Yes,
You're
I
back
can
now.
hear you.
You're back now.
I'm back, am I?
So-
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
you're back.
All right, Brad.
So
Hit us.
my team, yeah. So me and the Dally M's don't get along by the looks of things. I got worried when I saw the list. I was like, oh no. My fullback's Dylan Edwards. My wings are Alex Johnston and Taylor May. Centres, Valentine Holmes and Joey Manu. The halves, I got Cameron Munster and Ben Hunt. Front row, I've got Joseph Tapani, Api Coruscant and James Fisher Harris. Second row, I got Nanai and Sean Lane. And then lock, I've got Cameron Murray. And then my interchange, I've got Reece Robson, Regal, Campbell Gillard, Ruben Cotter, and Kickow, with Isaiah Yao as my 18th man, and the Dally M winner is sitting at home watching this game.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. Rob, what do you got?
All right. I have Tedesco, Suali'i, and you won't believe this, Ronaldo Mulatalo on the other wing.
Pre-Jack.
Free Jack. Valentine Holmes and Joseph Manu in the centres. The halves are Ben Hunt and Nico Hines. I've got Junior Totola, Harry Grant, and Joseph Tapani. This is my front row.
Totola,
Yeah,
Grant, and Tapane. Yep.
Tapani. Sean Lane and Nanai in the second row. Pat Carrigan at lock.
Yep.
And on my bench, I had Burton, Cam Murray, Olokalatu, Tino, and 18th man Hudson Young.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, my team is Teddy at fullback, Johnston and Pre-Jack Mulatalo on the wings, Holmes and Manuez. I've got Tom Dearden at 5'8", and Nico Hines at halfback. And my front row is Tarpanay, James Fisher-Harris, and Reece Robson at hooker. I've got IPAP and Hudson Young in my back row, and Pat Carrigan at lock. And then my bench is Matt Burton, Jeremiah Nanai, Ruben Cotter, and Regan Campbell-Gillard, and Cameron Murray is my 18th man, and my coach is Todd Payton.
Nice.
Good one. Yeah.
My coach was Trent Barrett.
Oh, I had Nathan Brown then.
Yeah, nice.
No, I've got Anthony Griffin.
Just to clarify too, for my under 5 game Warriors team, I have a coach. My coach is Tony Iro because he only coached 2 games.
Bluey McLennan just behind him. He didn't even finish 1-0 this season.
Yeah, that's true. And our rookie teams, this was a little bit difficult.
So hard.
Because there was abundance of wingers that made their debuts this year, but the forwards, they were very hard to come by. But I did manage to get a 17. Brad, I'll start with you. What is your rookie team of the year?
Yeah,
now,
and
just so that
clarify,
people know, clarify that they can't have played. They can have played last year, but it had to be less than 5 games in last season.
Was it 5 and less, or just less than 5?
5 and less.
Ooh.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, 5 and less.
You,
Yeah.
Up to and including
you
5.
saved me there.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
All right. So my fullback is Xavier Savage.
Yep.
My wings are Joseph Suwali and Taylor May. Suwali played 5, so that's why I had to clarify.
Yes, he did.
My centers, I've got Kula and Tass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Halves, I've got Ilias and Mam.
Yep.
My front row, I've got Leo Thompson and Whenua Pole as my front rowers, and Zach Wolford as my hooker.
Polly and Wolford, yep.
Yeah, and then my second row is Nanai and Jackson Topany, or Topeni. I don't know how to say his name. Topine.
Yeah, that's what the Aussies call him, Topine.
Yeah, I think it's Topany. And then I've got Ben Travojevic as my lock.
Oh, Turbo.
And then my interchange, I've got Tyron Wishart.
Yep.
Gira Momasia.
Momasia, yeah.
Yep.
Tom Ali. From the Knights. Yep.
Yep, from the Knights.
Tom
Ali. And then Viliami Valia. And then I've got Jacob Carraz as my 18th man.
Yeah,
nice.
Wow, you did way better than me.
Yeah. You've got some names there I hadn't even thought of. Very good. You're an astute student of the game, Brad. It's a pleasure to have your input onto our show. Okay, Richie, what have you got, mate?
All right. Fullback, Xavier Savage. Wingers, Jacob Carraz, Joseph Suali'i. Centers, Tolutau Kola, and I'll put Taylor May there. Yep. Halves, Ezra Mam, Lockie Elias. Show my bias here. Starting prop, Tom Ali.
Yep.
Zach Wolford, hooker, and other starting prop, Griffin Neem. Second row, Zach Hosking, Jeremiah Nanai. 13, Jermaine Hopgood. Bench, Taniela Otakolo. Extremely showing my bias here. Otakolo and Viliami Valer.
Yep.
Jara Momasia and Ben Travojevic.
Yep.
Round out my bench.
Momasia and Trbojevic. All right, Rob.
All right, I had Xavier Savage, Taylor May, and Joseph Suali'i on the wings, Jacob Carraz and Tolutau Kula in the centres, Ezra Mam, Lockie Ilias in the halves, Terrell May, Zach Wolford, and Michael Molo front row, Zach Hoskins, Jeremiah Nanai, and Tyron Wishart at number 13, and I couldn't. That's all I had.
That's cool.
Starting 13, yeah.
Do you even watch the games, Rob? Or
not really. Got
Ilias.
2 young kids. I barely get to.
Yeah. Okay, my team. I've got Xavier fullback, Joseph Swali'i and Taylor May on the wings, Tolatau Kula and Viliami Valea in the centres, Ezra Mam and Lachlan Ilias in the halves, Michael Molo and Leo Thompson front row, Zach Walford at hooker, Jeremiah Nanai, Zach Hosking in the back row, Matt Croker from the Knights at lock. And then I've got Tyron Wiss, Terrell May, Griffin Neem, and Alec McDonald on the bench, and Jacob Carraz as my 18th man. And they're coached by rookie coach Jason Demio. It's his first season, isn't it?
Yep. First season as head coach,
Yeah. Man, there's some good teams in here. I can't wait to fucking post these up.
There's some bad teams in there too. Sorry, Wes.
There is. There is. This is the one I've been waiting for, Brad. Give me your NRLW team of the year. Is it just the Knights, or is there other players in there?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Knights, including 18th woman. There's 2 Titans though. So.
Oh, okay.
Other than that,
very good.
2 Titans. So I've got Tamika Upton at fullback.
Yeah.
My wingers are Tegan Berry and Jamie Chapman.
Yep.
I think everyone's centres most likely Kelly and Surgis.
Kelly and Surgis. Yep.
My halves, I've got McGregor and Dib.
Yep.
Front row, I've got Millie Boyle. Surprise.
Yeah.
I know, shock everywhere. And I've got Stephanie Hancock from the Titans as my other prop.
Try machine.
And I've got Keely Davis as my hooker.
Yep.
And then second row, I've got Kizzy Apps and Keely Joseph as my second rowers. And then I've got Tuffa from the Eels as my lock. And then interchange, I've got Olivia Higgins, Caitlin Johnston, Kennedy Cherrington, and Georgia Hale. And then, 18th woman, I've got Jessie Southwell. I thought she did really good, but I couldn't put her in over McGregor in the halves.
No, I was the same. Okay. You guys didn't do NRLW sides, did you?
Oh, I didn't, sorry.
No.
Okay.
Up to you,
I'll go mine, mate. Okay, so my side that takes on Brad's side in the NRLW is Sam Bremner at fullback. I've got Maddie Bartlett and Jamie Frassard on the wings. Ivania Polite and Isabel Kelly in the centres. Dib and McGregor as my halves. Millie Boyle. Is it Millie Boyle or Millie? Yeah, Millie Boyle. Yeah, she's not a bad player, that one. Millie Boyle.
She's not an indie yet.
No, okay. Millie Boyle and Shannon Marto as my front rowers. Destiny Brill at hooker. And I've got Vanessa Foliaki and Yasmin Clydesdale as my back rowers. Samai Mataufa as my lock. And my bench is Emma Manzelman, Kennedy Cherrington, Georgia Hale, Taylor Predabon, and I've got Olivia Kernick as my 18th woman. And I've got my team coached by Dean Witters, just to be different because he's won my game.
My team's coached by Millie.
Adam Elliott. Adam Elliott. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I love doing those lists. Next week, we're going to have you guys back on again because we're going to do a grand final review and then get into our World Cup preview where we will break it down. We won't all come up with teams from all this. We'll kind of break it down to 2 teams each and we can go through squads and come up with what we think will be their optimum 17 going into the tournament. I think, I don't know about Rob. I don't know if Rob's got an allegiance to any one nation in the World Cup.
Are you on neutral?
Are you on Scotland, mate?
Yeah, I'll go Scotland. Go for Dad. He'll be happy with that. Even though he keeps reminding me they don't even play league in Scotland or know what it is.
There is a warrior. There is a warrior that's been selected for Scotland.
Yeah, Ewan Aiken.
Yeah.
Back in the Scottish side.
The rest of us are on the Kiwis, mate.
Yeah, okay. I'll take the other sides then. I'm on the Jamaican Reggae Warriors. Yeah,
I can't wait to see who plays for them.
I looked at their squad. It's mostly Super League guys.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. They were talking about the winger for the Knights being in the team, but he wasn't there.
No,
I think that was just people being racist because he looks Jamaican.
He's got dreadlocks.
Because he's English.
He's a Pommy,
But
he'll probably
Jamaican descent. Yeah.
He'll probably play for England in the World Cup, I'd imagine. Maybe.
Yeah, he probably got picked for them. I can't even think of his name. It's just
Dominic Young.
Dominic
Young. The Predator.
I was just going to say the Predator, but I don't want to start just calling him the Predator all the
time. So we're going to get you guys on for that, which will be a lot of fun. We'll come up with a good preview of the Rugby League World Cup because I think it starts the week after, if I'm correct. I think it's the 15th. And I think England kick off with the first game. There's some really poor time slots. I think it's better for you guys in New Zealand now with your daylight savings. I know here in Australia the Kiwi games are on at like 5:30 in the morning. So I think you guys will get them at like.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's England Samoa in the first game on the 16th.
Okay.
I think that's 16th for us, not for them.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I tried to work it out New Zealand times. I think it's like 1:30 in the morning, that first game.
That'd be a good game.
And then,
really good game to kick off.
Australia versus Fiji on that first day as well.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. And then we have a 6:30 Monday morning, I believe, against Lebanon.
Which is
as the Kiwis.
It might be 7:30. Might be 7:30 your time because I think it's 5:30 our time.
Yeah, so I did all my time conversions before daylight savings.
Yeah,
so,
okay. Yeah.
I'll have to go through and do them all over again.
Yeah. Yes, well, that'd be a good one. Don't forget, we've got some live shows coming up too, Rob, haven't we?
We do. We're continuing to make connections with those ex-players, do some more of those head-to-head interviews that you guys will enjoy. How good was Robbie Mears last week? We've got Warrior 109, Tony Martin. He's scheduled in for Thursday, 13th of October. And we're in final discussions to lock in dates with some more guests to be announced soon. Fingers crossed. Villa is coming on for a chat, Brad. We're still chasing him, so yeah. Hopefully he'll be on for a chat soon.
Trying to get Monty Beetham on as well. Louis Anderson. A lot of those New Zealand guys, they're not as flexible as our good mates here, Brad and Richie. They don't want to be staying up until 11 o'clock at night to chat to two nufties who run some weird ass podcast or webcast on Facebook. So we may have to do some pre-recorded ones with those coming up. But we're trying to get some. We're getting a couple of new guys following us too now. Blake Ashford reached out to us the other day, so there's an Aussie for our centres. Blake Ashford.
But he lives over there now. He's one of you guys, isn't he?
He's a Kiwi.
Have you heard him speak? I heard him.
Wade McKinnon was over there too, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he was a firefighter over here, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's still a firefighter at the airport in Auckland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brent Webb lives there as well, doesn't he? Doesn't he run a cafe or something like that?
Yeah,
I think so. He's always seems to be at games, so I assume so. I assume he lives there.
Have you seen that show, The Ditch? That show, The Ditch. They had Blake Ashford on that the other day. He was talking. He sounded full Kiwi.
Yeah.
So he's really embracing the culture. He's converted, yeah, for sure.
He was a good player at Tigers. I shouldn't say that. No, he was good. He was good for us, Blakey Ashford. We'll wrap this up. Just a reminder to everyone that we're on Patreon as well. Our membership subscription platform. You can go to
Oh, he's gone sideways. Well,
Sideways.
as he was saying, on Patreon, our membership subscription support platform, it enables our followers to show their support of our content we provide by signing up for a monthly subscription. The Patreon link is on the page right now, so you can follow that link, show your support, subscribe to our bronze tier, which is set at the lowest possible amount. That's just $3 a month, which is next to nothing. And as always, we want to thank those who have subscribed to our bronze tier Patreon program so far. We have Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Sean Kerswell, Fabian Moroa, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley. Someone's rejoined us here. Yes, Christian Catley, Alf Tuilave, TK Harris, Ted Clark, Inamete, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, Malcolm Earnshaw, Dennis Danzo, Siala Afamasanga, and Shane Masifau. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate your support. And also, don't forget, if you want to pick up some sweet merchandise, head to our Roo and Hammer Redbubble store. Again, the link is on your screen there. You can get a wide range of different prints on T-shirts from some of our past and present legends. Our newest releases are our Captain's Collage shirt. All the Warriors Club captains. We've just done a Warriors Player of the Year collage shirt. All the players of the year from Tio Ropati in 1995 all the way through to Ewan Aitken in 2022. Everyone in between, and also honouring our past legends such as Dr. Deef, Steve Price, Stacey Jones, Ruben Wiki, Simon Mannering, Clinton Torpey, Reece Walsh, get it while you still can, and the great man himself, Mike Doreen. So head to our Redbubble store and grab yourself a bargain. Are you with us, Hammer? No, looks like he isn't. Don't forget, though, if you do miss any of our live shows, head to our link tree and you can catch up. You can go to our Facebook page, go to our video section, or you can go onto our YouTube channel, catch up there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, both, so you never miss any of our content. The easiest way to find our videos is to head to our link tree, which has direct links to all of our live guest interviews and special presentations. If you're a podcast fan, then you can catch all our episodes on podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, and make sure you subscribe to us there. And we upload our episodes there so they're ready to listen to every Thursday morning, which will be Friday morning now that we switched to Thursday shows. And please keep keep checking out our Roo and Hammer Instagram page. We upload daily content to keep our followers informed of upcoming events, Warriors news, player movements, and all other Warriors content. Yeah. Hammer, are you with us again? No.
Fuck this, eh?
That's all right, mate. We've just been going on without you. We're just wrapping up. Huge thanks to you guys, Brad and Richie, for joining us again. And yeah, always a pleasure to have you guys on board. We'll do it all again next week to talk about the World Cup. And thanks to all you guys who are watching and continue to support Roo and Hammer. Very much appreciated. Hammer did have a message here. I think he was hoping to deliver himself, but I'll deliver it on his behalf. This Sydney-based people, if you're looking for something to do this Saturday, why not head out to St Mary's Stadium to support the New South Wales Māori Rugby League in their carnival against Fiji. A gold coin donation at the gates. Pottery starts at 8 a.m. and the first game, Hammers 16s ladies, kicks off at 9 a.m. With the final game, the Open men's kicking off at 3 p.m. So everybody get out there if you can, if you're in the Sydney area. Otherwise, everyone else, stay safe. Enjoy the grand final. And, hope you enjoyed taking a stroll down memory lane with us tonight. Thanks, boys. Take care. We'll see you all again next week.
Cheers. See you next week.
That was fun, mate.
Bye.